education, workshops for educational leaders. During the Council of Great City Schools Fall 2018 Conference, Wichita Public Schools administrators presented to urban educators from across the nation. The presentation provided an overview of workshops available to district educational leaders to enhance leadership skills and increase efficiencies. The purpose of tonight's presentation is to present the information shared at the conference. This item provides an opportunity for the board's information and discussion.
Good evening, Dr. Thompson, President Logan, and members of the board. I'm excited to introduce Keith Reynolds and Angela Blake to you tonight. These are two of our HR veteran rock stars, and Keith has been the director of employee relations in our district for over 11 years, and Angela has been the manager of employee benefits, and she's been with us since I hired her in 2010. I can't take credit for hiring Mr. Reynolds, but I'm going to take credit for hiring Ms. Blake. By way of background, the concepts and the presentation that you're going to hear tonight originated several years ago, really back in the 2011-12 school year, when our district formed a partnership with the Wichita Chamber of Commerce. And that partnership was called the Business Education Innovation Partnership. Some of you, I know Cheryl was on the board at the time. And that's where our human resources team worked with 13 professionals from the business community, and these were HR professionals that came in and audited our HR operations. They made best practice recommendations, and they suggested a roadmap for implementation of those best practices. And one of the best practices that they recommended to us was that we provide operational leadership training for our building leaders. And so tonight what you're going to hear is what our HR department has done to implement that chamber recommendation. And as Mike announced, Angela and Keith are going to present the slides that they presented to the Council of Great City Schools in Baltimore a couple weeks ago. I was not able to attend. I was attending my son's wedding, but I understand from Dr. Thompson and Dr. Irving that they did a great job and that they represented us well. So I'm going to turn it over to Angela and Keith.
All right. So good evening, President Logan, Dr. Thompson, and members of the board. So as Shannon said, we're going to share with you our presentation that we gave. We decided that we were going to start out with like a brief overview or a snapshot, a little bit about our district, so everyone that was present would know a little bit about who we are as a school district. So we highlighted that we are the largest school district in the state of Kansas, serving over 50,000 students. Of those students, a little over 73% of them come from homes of poverty. And then also, as we like to say, the world walks our hallways. I don't know if you've heard that. We have students that represent 96 different countries, and more than 119 languages are spoken in the homes of our students. We employ nearly 9,500 staff members. More than 4,200 of those are teachers. And then we have our 94 buildings, 90 of which are schools, and 24 of those schools actually house magnet programs as well. And then the purpose of our presentation, as Shannon mentioned, was to give a brief overview of the leadership training initiatives that we've done. And the purpose behind those trainings, or that initiative, was we felt that our school leaders and principals were really well versed and trained as far as being instructional leaders, but maybe not as well versed in operational or HR leadership. So our plan with that was to host the monthly 1-hour HR workshops, which Keith will talk about here in a second, and then also create a one-stop shop, if you will, a resource library for our principals and district leaders. So with that, I'll pass over to Keith.
Thank you, ma'am. When we presented to the Council of Greater City Schools, we presented to them and shared information on how we have workshops for our leaders. And we spoke about the monthly 1-hour workshops to prepare our educational leaders to become more skilled in areas that I'll present to you today, as well as some of the information that we offered to our leaders that we presented at the Council of Greater City Schools was to reduce time and to reduce liabilities, as well as so that our leaders could focus more time and energy on academic leadership. We had 4 different phases that we presented at the conference. The first phase was our human resources basics, which addressed screening talent and performance management, as well as investigation and addressing discipline issues. The second phase addressed utilizing our human resources systems and processes, as well as gave information on negotiating contracts and pitfalls that we can encounter on a legal basis and liabilities that they should be aware of and cautious of. The third phase addressed leadership basics, where we shared information with them about how we give our leaders information on employee retention, as well as how to create a positive work culture for retention purposes. And then the phase 4 was for advanced leadership, where we focused on professional and future growth opportunities for our leaders, as well as succession planning for them. With the Human Resource 101 training, we shared with the council and the members that attended, we shared information about managing performance, attendance, and behavior. We spoke to them about progressive discipline and how we train our leaders in order to carry out progressive discipline with our employees, and plans of assistance to assist our employees that may be struggling when it comes to performance. When it came to conduct issues, we shared information about how we conduct our investigations and how they could assist us with that, and how they could take part within that, as well as disciplinary measures and the different ranges of discipline in order to gain win-win corrective action, as well as suspension and, if necessary, dismissal. We also shared with them the screening for top talent, and so that we could obtain the best talent for our students and for our community. We gave them information and tips on effective interviewing and how to conduct reference checks, as well as the importance of teacher insight scoring and predictive index. We had sessions where we spoke to them about crimes and neglect and abuse and boundaries, because we wanted to be very realistic, but at the same time, when they entered into those realms or those situations, we wanted them to not be afraid, to have some idea of how to address those issues, as well as to be able to contact us to provide guidance and consultation. When it came to reporting crimes, we gave them information on how to work with our school resource officers, as well as our securities and safety services. When it came to neglect and abuse, we emphasized the importance of mandated reporting, as well as reporting to social services in a timely manner to make sure that our children were safe if they ever ran into a neglect or abuse issue. And with professional boundaries, we gave them information on not going outside of those professional boundaries that may compromise matters with our stakeholders, and making sure all parties were safe when they were within our schools, from all staff as well as visitors. We also shared information on how to stay out of court. That was very interesting when we presented at the conference, because we gave them information and shared with them that we present to our leaders things that will keep you from being sued. And there's an array of things that we gave information about, from how to address workers' comp, as well as family medical leave and Americans with Disability Act and equal employment opportunity, and if you receive information from the Office of Civil Rights, how to address those issues. It could be very nerve-wracking when you receive that information, but it helps if they had some idea of how to start with those things initially, and as well as to contact us to offer them assistance. We went into the second phase of things, where we addressed human resource systems and processes and pitfalls. We wanted to make sure that they knew how to, if we have all this technology, we wanted them to be comfortable with using that technology and realize how it benefits them to make their day easier. We spoke to them about and gave them an overview of our applicant tracking system to help them to be able to hire in a more efficient manner. We also gave information on our absence management and substitute systems to help them to understand how employees record their absences and request a substitute, and to do so in a timely manner so all of those classrooms are covered and our students have someone there to educate them. We also spoke about teacher evaluation system and the classified evaluation system and the nuts and bolts of that system so that they would have an understanding, particularly when it came to rating our teachers and our classified staff. Again, we went into avoiding contractual and legal pitfalls. That seemed to be a great attraction because we wanted them to understand contractual language and negotiations and what came from negotiations and how that impacted them on a day-to-day basis. We wanted them to understand what was grievable and what actions they might take up that could be grievable so that they could be more proactive instead of reactive and avoid those pitfalls. We also spoke about that grievance process, about lawsuits, about subpoenas, about high risk and liabilities, and if necessary, how to terminate and do so without putting us at great risk. We wanted to make sure we protected all parties, and we wanted to make sure that we abide by all rules as we proceeded down that road. With our leadership basics, we focused on culture and retention. And that, when it came to leadership boundaries, we wanted to let them know that there were some that had advanced from the ranks. They were now managing their peers. And sometimes that could be very difficult to separate themselves from that, to where at one point you were very good friends and you were going out together, and now you're giving information and instructions to those individuals. We also spoke to them about workplace ethics, because there are certain rules and boundaries we must abide by to keep all of our stakeholders safe, as well as separating personal from professional and how that can have an impact in the workplace on our stakeholders as well. With exemplary leadership practices, we shared with them, and we did research on present practices, and we want to keep them updated on all the things that were out there that our leaders need to know, that everyone was talking about across this country and how it applied for USD 259. We wanted to make sure that our leaders were abreast of those things so that they could remain sharp. We gave them information on leadership blind spots and the importance of self-awareness and professionalism in the workplace so that they could understand their professional deficits as well as improve those deficits if they had them, to be able to confront those deficits and to be able to work on them so that they did not become obstacles stopping them from being the best they could be when it came to working within our schools and with our constituents. With leading staff retention, we wanted to create a positive workplace, a welcoming workplace, a supportive building so that we would retain all of those wonderful employees we have that we work so hard to recruit and to hire. We didn't want to lose them, so we gave tips on how to retain them and how to make them feel comfortable in the workplace. We offered them leadership skills and training on You Lead Now, which gave tips on leading, but it gave tips on being assertive and being strong at times when things got really tough. We also placed emphasis on the fact that leadership was more than just a title. It was an action, and we explained to them how to carry out those actions to its fullest to benefit our constituents and our customers. With leading a diverse workplace, we wanted to place emphasis on the importance of diversity, as well as how to manage diverse groups and the importance of diversity and valuing diversity and how it benefit our students and how it benefit our community, as well as all that visited USD 259 schools. And then leadership of self, we wanted to have them to focus on the importance of gaining feedback, not after the fact, but immediately, so that they would know how to correct things and so that our customers would be comfortable in their presence. We also wanted to enhance leadership growth as well as make improvements in leadership so that once again we could offer the best product to our students and to our staff. With leadership engagement, we worked on, we shared information about how we offer training to our leaders about wellness and self-care. We wanted them to have and maintain a healthy work-life balance because there were so many that we found out that were having issues with burnout as well as with lowering stress. We wanted to make sure that our employees were sharp and that if they needed a break, how to take a healthy break, because we wanted to make sure that they knew we cared. With self-assessment tools, we wanted to give them information and surveys so that they can gauge the effectiveness of their leadership style and how they relate to others. Because sometimes in those cases, it's hard for us to see ourselves, but others could see that. We wanted them to find a way to be able to see themselves and be the best they could for our customers. Feed forward towards growth, we looked at 360 reviews to where others would be able to give them an array of perspectives of how they were leading within our schools and get that information from all staff members, and so that our leaders knew how they were performing, and they knew that immediately so that they could make corrections if there were faults. There was the book by Marshall Goldsmith on What Got You Here Won't Get You There, and it included 20 habits that are holding us back. And some of those habits included passing judgment as a leader and making destructive comments, how being angry and how negativity could also cause a cancer within our schools, and how to remove that and address that so that we had a healthy work environment for all parties. We focused on building a positive work culture, as well as making sure that our leaders were able to assess positive and negative culture in their building and be able to have a strategy of creating and maintaining a positive culture. With discipline and giving effective feedback, we wanted to make sure that when it was needed to have a crucial conversation with employees and with parents and with students, they had the skills to be able to carry that out, and how they were able to have that feedback and share that information with our students and parents as well as staff. And finally, with casting a vision, there's a USD 259 vision, there's a school vision. We want to make sure that we shared that vision with our leadership so that that strategy and that vision could be applied to our stakeholders and others to make, once again, our school district the best school district there is. I closed with the council in addressing the importance of continuous learning. We connected our resources to continuous learning through a 70-20-10 rule of development. And that rule of development basically consists of 70% of their learning would be on the job, 20% would be through a mentor and coach, and 10% would be through classes and books and seminars, so that they would have an array of learning, and so that they would continuously be sharp and offer, once again, this city and our school district and our students and parents and staff the best they could be. All that information was presented to a multitude of individuals in Baltimore, and it went pretty well. I think we presented ourselves well to this nation and let them know that Wichita is a great place, and we're doing a great job with educating our students. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then the second part of our plan was the manager's one-stop resource library. And this is kind of the one-stop shop that we wanted to create to make it easier for our leaders to get the information they needed quickly. We often heard that it was too time-consuming, and there's too many different places that they needed to go to find the information when they need it fast. We decided to go with OneNote within Microsoft. It's free. No additional cost to the district, and it's easily searchable, very user-friendly. So this is what it looks like as far as the home page, if you will, of the notebook. And it covers a variety of topics, anything from accident reporting to the various district calendars, various salary schedules, or any of the negotiated agreements even, if you want to review those. And so we did a little demo. So if you wanted to search, for example, let's say attendance, you would go up to the search bar, simply type in attendance, and then it would drop down a list of everywhere that attendance is referenced within this notebook. So you could click on attendance, and then it pulls up the classified attendance matrix. There, as a principal, you could find where your employee falls on that matrix. And with the simple click of a button, you can click on a link that'll pull up a template to that performance management piece based on where that employee is on the matrix. You can open it. It's editable, so you can go in there, type in your name as the leader, the reason for the conference, in this example being attendance, And you can customize the document from there, putting in the dates and the relevant information in this scenario. So try to make it as easy as we can by offering these templates to our principals and district leaders. Let's say you wanted to maybe look at some of our HR workshops. You could do that as well. Simply type it into the search bar. It'll pop up a list of the HR workshops that we've done. So, you know, one of our most recent ones from this year, the well-being workshop, you can find all the material there, the presentation, the handouts, any worksheets. Or even if you really liked something from last year, or maybe you missed one of them last year and you want to go back to that, you can do that as well. Just, again, you would select which one you're interested in reviewing, and it has the presentation and the handouts there for you. All the tabs are also to the left by category, so you can search that way as well if that's your preference. So like accident reporting, for example, you can click on that, and then it would pull up not only employees' report of incident forms, but also forms for members of the public, student accident reports, anything you need right there. Or perhaps one of the district calendars. It's not like we have a little bit more than one. So you can search the calendars there, find the appropriate calendar, whether it's, you know, 190-day, 260-day, what have you, and find the work calendars there. You can also search those tabs by that drop-down arrow at the top, and it brings up those same categories that way as well. So you can find whatever category you're looking for. Negotiated agreements, I mentioned those were there. So all three of the agreements are there. So if you're wanting to reference one of the agreements or review that, you can simply click on that, and it opens up the full negotiated agreement for you. And then, of course, you can search within the Word document, too. So that's a little bit of the demo that we gave for OneNote and our plan and initiatives for leadership development. Do you guys have any questions?
Stan?
Thank you for this information, and thank you for your presentation. There's a lot of good information there. It is a big effort, and we appreciate you guys taking that on. I thought maybe for the sake of the public and anybody who, I don't know if we're going to put this presentation on our YouTube channel, but just for that sake, would the superintendent or the board president or Ron or Ben want to explain what the Council of Great City Schools, what that organization actually is,
Okay, Alicia?
or what they do?
Okay, we are members of the Council of Great City Schools. It is an organization of the largest 100 school districts in the country, and it allows opportunity for us to collaborate with like districts to learn about best practices in many areas. There's HR, human resources, there's facilities, operation, there's curriculum and instruction, there's law, there's all types of leadership. So anything, you name it, as it relates to their special ed. So anything that you want to learn about and how it impacts an urban setting, you can learn through the opportunities that we have with the council. The council also provides opportunities for us to have people come in and review materials. They call it peer reviews, and we've sat on some, and we've had some come into our system. It's free. It's part of being the member. Well, you have a membership, so they do that as a service, and they come in and review different departments within the district and give us feedback and recommendations. And the people that come in are peers of whatever division you go in. So if they wanted to come in and do, I can tell you that HR, so there would be HR professionals from the top 100 school districts. They would come in and review our systems and give us recommendations and feedback from best practices that they've had and successes they've had within their district. So it's a number of things that we have take advantage of as it relates to being members of the Council of Great City Schools.
Just a quick follow-up. Top 150 in population size.
it's the top 100 and it's in size.
Oh, top
Yes.
100.
Yes.
And then what number are we?
I think we are like 70, oh, no. We're 80, we're 80s, we're in the 80s. In the 80s. I won't give you the right number because
No,
I
no,
don't
no,
know,
that's
but
okay.
we are in the 80s.
And and did we move up recently in that list? We're still,
No.
we've stayed in that area consistently?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Julie?
Well, I can vouch for the trainings that these two do as being very good because they were giving them when I was still an employee. So I was a recipient of some of this information and of the forms. And, I think one of the most important things about it and one of the most important values that this brings to us is consistency then throughout the district. Because before we had the trainings, before we had the forms that were available to everybody, it's difficult in a district as large as we are with as many as employees as we have to remain, to be consistent across the district. And I think that the resources that you folks have provided has helped in that regard. So thank you.
Thank you.
Ron?
One of the things I would say also about the Greater City Schools is that, and I'm sure you guys know, that there was a lot of collaboration and things. I mean, this was new to to Ben and I, and some of the things that we think about in an urban school is validated a lot of times through just simply talking and sitting down and talking with other school districts around the nation. So did you guys get some good feedback and good collaboration going?
We did.
All right,
Even
good.
after the session had concluded, we had a lot of questions and people wanted to contact us about more information so that they could pretty much utilize some of these services or templates within their school district.
All right. Thank you.
Ben?
I can also speak to the power of a collaborative OneNote. I used one today at work for some airplane parts. But as far as like the public is concerned, this presentation is good because it not only shows the rigorous work that our district admin, such as yourselves, are doing, but it also shows what rigorous work our building administrators need to do. They're not just, figureheads. They have a lot of work that they're doing, and the rigor of what we just saw proves that. So thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
I see no other questions. Thank you very much. We appreciate it, and
Thank you.
congratulations. I know you did an excellent job.
Thank you.
Next item, Mike?
Consent